Today's video we're going to be upgrading the speakers on a 1998 Toyota RAV4. These are the tools that we're going to need to get the job done. Got a drill, a couple of flathead screwdrivers, Phillips, a wire cutter, and number 1 and a number 2 Phillips bit for the drill. We got a soldering iron, some copper scrubbing material to clean off our iron tip, and some solder. These are the speakers we're going to be installing. It's a couple of pile driver 6.5-inch speakers. Guys, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, turn on your notification bell. If you like this video, leave me a thumbs up and comment. With that, let's get started. Alright guys, so to take off the door panel, we're going to have to take off a few screws. First thing we're going to need to do is to remove this crank handle. If you don't have power windows and you have the manual setup like in this case, this thing has a clip that's behind here. You have to push the clip from this side and it will pop out the front. You might be able to get a hook tool in here and pull it out. There are some tools to release these. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of one and create one in OnShape that you guys can download and 3D print, and that will assist you in removing the clip from this without a whole lot of headache. All right, after you get that clip off, got one screw here, and then this part, carefully pry it out. It's got some clips that hold it. You have a Phillips screw in there. Another one on the other side. And then there's a couple of screws here that we got to get to. So 1, 2 for the pocket. And then the rest of the things are clips. Now these clips are all along the edge of the door. So you would have to pop this off. There's going to be a screw back there. This is a cap screw. Then there's going to be this also pries off. So just carefully pull it out. And it's got a clip that holds it in. And then start working along the side of this door. There'll be some fastening clips. Like I can feel that there's one right here. There's a special tool you can get in here to pry this up. If you don't have the tool, a flathead screwdriver will also work. You just have to be careful. And then just slowly work your way all the way around, removing those clips as you run into them. All right, so let's get this door unclipped. And then once it's completely unclipped, lower the window. And then the panel pulls up and out. And one other tool that I didn't mention that we're going to need is some kind of a panel pulling tool. So this will allow us to pull those clips out without breaking them. I'm going to start with the number 2 Phillips bit. You're going to use the panel tool to pop off the little cap, and right here there's another Phillips screw. Another thing you want to do is roll down your window. That'll make it easier for us to take our door panel off. And then to remove this, we're going to pull it towards the door handle and then just pull out, and it'll just release. So this is how it's held on. It's got a little clip over here, and then a couple of little plastic fasteners that hold it on the inside. So what I'm looking for here is a overhead picture of this tool to remove the manual handles. So this one is perfect. So it's directly from overhead, so I'm just going to copy this image, launch GIMP, and paste it as a new image. Just going to tweak it here. I'm going to rotate it. Then I'm going to create a rectangle around it. the idea here is to get the perspective correct, line up all the edges properly, but you can't get too crazy because you don't want to alter it too much, but you just want to make sure that it's lined up with this rectangle. And now I'm just going to use the magic wand to select everything that's white, delete it, then I'm going to save it as a JPEG. Next up is to open a new tab in OnShape, import the picture, and then I'm going to do my best to line it up, and I'm always going to need one measurement. Once you input the measurement, it's going to automatically scale the drawing. And I'm going to breeze through this pretty quick, but essentially what I'm doing here is I'm making sure I center this drawing properly. So I'm doing equal lengths of lines on either side of this image. Once I get it lined up, then I'm going to start my drawing. So this is a 3-arc circle, followed by another 3-arc circle, and pretty much this is all I'm doing the whole time. And then joining these edges together, so the circle arcs, and then joining the straight edges. So here's another arc, another one, and the beauty of it is you only have to do it on one side, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use the mirror feature to copy the one side that we drew on. So here's our drawing. Now we're just going to extrude it and then mirror it. So there's our mirrored image, and then now we can hide the picture that we imported. So this is essentially the tool, and I changed the tool from the original one slightly. On the original design I had this handle that was offset, and it failed during the print because the supports did not hold up, but I noticed that it was flexible enough that it could have been just made flat. So that's what I did on the final product. Alright guys, so here's the final tool that we designed. So the original one had I had this like going up and out, but that really wasn't necessary because this is pretty flexible. And then to shorten the print, I also added these holes here. That way we're not wasting material trying to fill these holes. It doesn't need to be super robust, just needs to be able to get in there and release those clips. So this is what the tool looks like, and this was based off of the picture that we downloaded from the internet and recreated in OnShape. The thing is about 1 millimeter in thickness. So let's see if we can release that clip on the handle. So all you're going to do is you're going to slide it behind the handle. So here's the window, the little knob that you hold. So the tool goes behind the knob, and you can feel it when it gets in the groove, and then you're just going to push it towards this side. So opposite the little knob. And that's it, there you go. And I'll show you guys how the tool works. So this is how the clip goes in. You can see it there. And the way the tool works is you slide it behind the handle, and then it goes into this groove here. I don't know if you can see that. It goes right, fits right into this groove, and pushes the clip out, just like that. See that? It's kind of hard to tell because this thing is dark in color. But anyway, I'll include the STL file, free for download, in the video description. So if you guys have a car that has one of these manual window cranks and you need to remove this clip, this tool will do the job. To remove this triangle, all you got to do is just pull this out, and it's held on by a plastic clip. So I'm just going to get my fingernails between the plastic and the metal and just pull towards me. And and then just lift up. So you can see here it's a plastic clip, and then this part slid down. So pull it out, pull it up, and it comes right out. Next thing that has to be done is to release the clips around the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'll start somewhere around here, and you can kind of pull it with your hand and feel where the clips are. So there's one, and then if you work your way down, you can see where it binds up. So here's another one, and then that one already released. And then you're just going all the way around the edge till you feel some resistance. Then you get your panel tool under and just give it a little pry. Same thing on this edge. Just get behind it, pry it up a bit, and it just releases. Once you have it at this stage, you're gonna pull it out enough to clear this handle, and then you're gonna wiggle it up until it releases from this top edge. Well, this panel's falling apart, but anyway, here are the clips. You can see what they look like. So here's another one here. And if any of the clips stay stuck on the door, just take them out and reinsert them into the panel. Okay, so the speaker's held on with some number 2 Phillips screws. We're going to take those out first. And it looks like the speaker's held in with some kind of a glue. So just pry up on the edges until the glue releases. Just like that. And then there's also a plastic clip back here. You could probably just catch it in the shot, just barely. To release that clip, all you're going to do is just push one side down, and then the other side you might be able to get with a fingernail. Yep, I was able to release it with my fingernail, so I'm just pulling it towards me, and then it will push down. And then once it pushes down, you can pull the thing out. Now these connectors are really good. They're watertight and they make a real good connection, so I'm just going to reuse these. To release it, it has a little pin here. Push the little tab down and then pull the connector out. And this is a real robust connector, so it's kind of tight fitting. So it's going to require a little force to get it out. But make sure you push down on this tab first to release this little fastener here so that you can undo it. All I'm going to do is cut these wires and then resolder them to the new speaker. Now, if you guys notice, this speaker is it looks like it's a 4-inch speaker. So it's smaller than the speaker that we're going to install. So we're going to probably need to remake these in OnShape. So we'll design it based off of the original speaker adapter. What I'm going to do is take a picture of this from overhead using my camera, and then use it, import it into OnShape, and then we'll trace around it. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So lastly, we got to get these bolts off. I'm going to use a number 1 Phillips bit on these to get them off. And for you guys that are not sure what the number one is, it's the bigger Phillips. So the one that's got the real broad head on it. All right, guys, so let's take this, put it over a sheet of white paper, photograph it from overhead. We'll import this into OnShape and use it to trace the outline and get the shape right. So I was going to try to unsolder them, but then I noticed they had this black coating on it, so I'm just going to cut this off here. Strip it back and then solder this to the new speaker. So the next thing we're going to do is take measurements from this speaker. We also have the original grill that we can use to also get measurements from. That way we can use that to help design our adapter bracket. In this step, what we're going to do is we're going to import the picture that we took from overhead of the factory speaker adapter. And just like before, we're going to rotate it, adjust it, and make sure that we can fit it into a square in this case. And then I'm going to select everything that's white and delete it. And pictures that have shadows are kind of tricky because the selection tool won't get it all the way. So in this case, I'm going to just go ahead and outline this little area and just join it together and delete it. Once I have it at this stage, I'll save it as a JPEG and then import it into a new tab in OnShape. And just like before, I'm going to select 2 points and then assign this line a size. And once I do that, it's going to scale my image properly. So there it is. So now the image is scaled to the proper proportions. And now I'm just going to begin by finding the center of my opening. And I'm just going to use these screw holes to help me determine that. I'm going to anchor all 3 of them down. And once that's done, I'm just going to create lines going towards the center. And then it's making like a little triangle in the middle. So in the center of the triangle, I'm going to go ahead and add a point, and that's going to be my center point. Now I'm just getting rid of the drawing marks here. So here we have the first circle. Now we're just going to measure our template and give this a size. And most speakers come with a paper template that you can use to get measurements from. That's what I did in this case. And then I'm going to get the outside diameter. And create the openings for the screw holes. Now my final shape wound up being a little bit different. I wound up offsetting the ring slightly because it was interfering with the door panel. But in the version of the STL file that I'll make available free for download, you can just print it and it'll fit perfectly. So here I'm just connecting these two circles because it was an oval. And then just like before, I'm going to create semicircles or 3-point circles to capture these radiuses. And then just finish up by joining up all the straight lines. Now I'm going to extrude it out, and then I'm going to extrude out the ring. And the distance that I extruded the ring is based off of the original ring that was being used on the 4-inch speakers. So I wanted to make sure to not protrude too far out and interfere with the door panel. So it's got 4 screws. So what I did is I took the measurement between the 2 screw holes off the template, divided it by half, and then made 4 equal lines crossing in the center to get those points. The ends of those lines, I'm going to apply then the opening for the screw. So I'm using 3.7 millimeters for each one. And I'm going to go ahead and just remove it all the way through. Template more robust, I'm going to add a fillet around the edge. Again, like you've heard me say in the past, I try to avoid 90-degree edges if possible. That small fillet adds a lot of additional strength. And in the final version, I did use the shell feature on this to reduce the amount of material and lighten the weight of it a little. So here I'm applying the shell, but I did it on the wrong side, so I had to cancel that one and then do it by the other side. So there it is right there. So this is exactly how I wound up finalizing the design. And then same as before, I'm just going to get into all these interior parts and then add some more fillets. So I noticed here that I added some 90 degrees, so I went back to the drawing, added some fillets along the inside edges, and pretty much that's it. Once I finished this step, the next thing was to import it into Cura and then export it to the 3D printer and print. All right, guys. So here's our new part, and this is what the old one used to look like. You can see they're exactly the same shape, but the difference is this ring will fit our 6.5-inch speaker. So let's go ahead and just install it. Again, we're going to use our number 1 Phillips. And the speaker includes the screws, so we're just going to use the screws that are provided with the speaker kit. And then we're going to switch our bit back to the number 2. So this is the number 2 Phillips bit. And after soldering the original connector to the new speaker, we're just going to reinsert it. So just line it up, clip it. And then I built the screw holes into this template, into this 3D printed part, so we're just going to line them up. Fits perfect. And now be very careful when you're using a power tool around a speaker like this, because it's easy for this to slip off to the side and you can make a hole in your speaker. What I recommend is get one that has a sleeve that goes over the tip. That will assist in keeping this screw nice, steady, and aligned. So just put your sleeve down on top of the speaker, so if it does wander off, it's not going to slip off and hit your speaker. And slowly screw it down. Again, same thing over here. Push the sleeve over the screw. And then take your time and make sure that you don't slip and hit your speaker. Alright guys, let's put the door panel back on. Guys, these manual handles, they're supposed to also have a little plastic washer. So I went ahead and just recreated a plastic washer in OnShape. I'll include all this stuff free for download in the description. So what I'll include in the description is the speaker adapters themselves, the window crank handle removal tool, and then these little plastic washers. But the way they work is they just fit right over this, and then it gives you a nice little decorative cover to cover up the gap left by the hole that's cut in the door panel. To reinsert it, all you do is just push it back on. So just get it on there, push it on, and that's it. Last thing would be to put the little triangle back on. So here's a little triangle, and again it just slides down and clips in. Going to slide it down and then flip it down, and that's it. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. The other door is exactly the same. Guys, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, turn on your notification bell, and leave me some comments. I love reading the comments, and I do my best to get back to you guys as soon as possible. Have a great day. Thanks, guys.